Hello. One of the things we're going to be doing this quarter a lot is analyzing music. And we have to learn how to write a good analysis. There's no actual form for this, but there's a lot of information we have to have, and there's easy ways to do it, and there's hard ways. So I'm going to talk about the easy ways. So when you do an analysis, you have two things you're going to hand in. One is a copy of the score itself, and one of them is a written paragraph or two or three or four about the piece. So on the score itself, you want to mark anything that's important. You can mark phrases. You could do that by putting a bracket on the phrase and then labeling it, or just putting little marks on the sides of the phrases and labeling it. You can do that. You can circle, say, passing tones or enharmonic tones or non-harmonic tones, or you can put a harmonic analysis in Roman numerals, or at least for the cadences. You can write the names of the cadences. A lot of stuff you can put on the score when you do an analysis. So when we're talking about Renaissance music, we're often interested in where the cadences are and what kind of dissonances there are, or what kind of intervals over the bass. That can be marked right on the score, and then you don't have to say anything, it's right there. Then what you want to do is you want to write the important facts about a piece and what's really unusual or interesting about it. So on the piece of paper that's going to usually typed or on your computer, it's going to have the analysis. You'll write something, and say in Renaissance music, you'll say Dorian mode. If it's classical music, C major, D major. You write the key. You write everything else that's really important. The text is from the Mass, say, or this is a madrigal, or this is a whatever you might want to put that tells us what the genre is, what the mode is, what the basics are. And then you say the things that you notice. For example, it might say something like this, like you would expect at the end of every phrase, there's a weak cadence. And there's a clausual, whatever it's called, causal vera, a true close at the end of the piece. And you can define that or not if you want. You can say, if you look at the dissonances, there's four suspensions and a bunch of passing tones, but you don't see anything else. Or maybe what you're seeing is the nota cambiata. We see four nota cambiatas. That could be interesting. Um, you could talk about the rhythm. That this is all half note rhythm. There are no brevs, and there's no 16th notes. That would be expected, but you could put it. You might want to talk about the meter. If everything is accented on the beat like you'd expect in a 4/2 meter, or whether there's a shifting accent pattern. So you see, take everything that you notice and you write it up, and you write it the way you'd write any other essay, right? You say, the piece follows our expectations. In the opening paragraph, piece follows our expectations, except in this one way where we see something different. And then the second paragraph is, what do we expect? This, 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 this. We got them all. And you can always refer to things by measure number, because you're sending the score in. In measure 9, you see this. Measure 12, you see this. Measure 15, you see this. Or you could do it by text. And then the conclusion can be one sentence. So this piece is only unusual in such a way, or really interesting in such and such a way, and otherwise follows what we expect from Renaissance music, period. And that's how you do analysis. In theory, we do an awful lot of analysis, and they take slightly different forms, but the way we do it is the same. So if you're doing a 12-tone piece, you might be talking about the rows instead of the modes. If you're talking about an impressionist piece, you might be talking about the fact that the harmonies are parallel motion. Who knows? But the formula is the same. You mark the obvious things on the score, use the measure numbers on the score as reference. You tell us what we expect to find and what's unusual, and you put it in essay form. It's only 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. I mean, if you have a big piece, that's a difficult piece, you can write a dissertation, 200 pages. But we're only talking about a couple paragraphs just to get the idea of how to analyze a piece of music. So that should help you with your assignments and your exams coming up. And I will see you in class shortly.